you love me, even if it's fake.
Hello, I'm sorry if my audio is bad at all. It's the first time of me really recording anything like this. But I started to decide that I'm gonna do some tutorials for 3.0 avatars. So it's basically gonna show you how to do a basic setup of a 3.0 avatar for almost any avatar, really, for the first one. Usually the SDK itself has a thing set up already for the FX on here. I usually like to set that up first. So if you go into the VRC SDK folder, you go into Examples 3, Animation, and Controllers. There should be a VRC Avatar V3 Hands layer. I usually like to duplicate that, doing Control D, and I'll throw it into my folder that I usually like to keep all of my avatar stuff in. And I'll just rename it to MaleFX because I'm doing it for this one. And usually if you want to do anything on top of it, you can do parameters and menus, which I can show you in a different video how to do for if you want to do anything like toggles or hue shifts or anything. But just for basic overall avatar, it's good to have the FX for also the basic facial expressions and everything else. But what you want to do is on the avatar, you'll want to go into your inspector and click Add Component. And usually you can just type DES and VRC Avatar descriptor comes right up. And you'll want to change the view position. I prefer to do it a little bit like behind the eyes. Oh, how did that happen? Ah! I prefer to do it, oh god, a little bit inside to where it's either just behind the face of it, or usually if it's poking out just a little bit. Either way kind of works as long as it's between the eyes, because that's where you are going to be viewing from the avatar. Down here in the lip sync, you'll want to change that to the Vizime blend shape. And on the avatar, you'll want to click and drag the body down to here. And one of the things I really like about the 3.0 SDK is that it already maps this out for you as long as the bones are there and as long as they're translated correctly. So that's pretty much already set up. Eye look. You just go into the head of the avatar. Ooh. And you will want to drag in left eye and right eye into the left eye bone and the right eye bone. You don't want to do IL and IR because then it maps them out wrong and the eyes will end up either inside the head or 50 miles away from it. And then depending on like what model it is, you can mess with these settings. That basically controls how far the eyes go whenever it's looking around. But I tend not to put them out too far, because sometimes it clips through the face of the avatar. The playable layers is where you would be putting the FX, as well as any locomotion if you have it. I'm using the locomotion fix from VRChat, which I can show possibly in a different video how to change up the different animations via like whether if it's crouching or sitting in another video, possibly in the future to come. But you just put the FX there. And the expressions would basically be the menu and parameters if you were to do any toggles or anything, which I can show at a later time. So for basic expressions of the Avi, what I like to do before I do any of that is I will duplicate the avatar and then hide the original one, and I'll make the facial animations based off of the duplicate. Because sometimes whenever you go to test the animations, you'll get either stuck in what they call bicycle pose, where its arms are like almost crossed, kind of, and as well as the legs get stuck in like a half crouch. So it's just better safe than sorry to just duplicate it and do the animations off the duplicate. But since that one is there, I'm gonna click on Mal Effects and go into the Animator. Oh, my windows are so large here. And before anything, you'll want to click and drag to click all of these boxes here and turn on right defaults on both the right hand and the left hand. Because without those on, the expressions will tend to mix into each other if you don't. So what I also like to do is I will always make a folder for the facial animations, just to keep myself a little bit organized here. So usually there's always the options of fist, open, point, piece, rock and roll, gun, and thumbs up. But I'll just show you how to do the open one just to give you an example. So I'm gonna click on the character here. I'm going to make sure there's nothing in the controller. I'm gonna go into the animation tab, and I'm gonna hit create animation right here in my facial animations. And I tend to do the same thing for open and piece, so I'm just gonna name it open and piece. But you can name it whichever of the gestures you're going to do it to. And you'd hit record. So then your character will go into the preview mode. So while it's in this mode, you go back into the inspector and then go into the body of the avatar. And then you'll see this option right here in the skin mesh renderer named blend shapes. You'll want to click that little down arrow, and from here you can mess around with any of the settings that is on the avatar, whether it be like hard eyes or blinking, anything like that. Usually for the open or peace sign, I usually just do a blink happy, so I turn that to 100, or just any value that might look good for the avatar, as well as I just do a little smile. And once I'm done with that, you go back into the animation tab, hit the little record button again, and turn off preview mode. And see, this is what I meant before with the half arm bicycle pose, which is why I had duplicated it originally. So then you'll also want to go into this animation, and you'll want to click the top little diamond on there and hit Control C to copy it, go to the next millisecond over, and then Control V to paste it. So once you have that done, you'll want to go back to the FX, into the Animator tab, and then on both left hand and the right hand layers, on whichever one that you are recording it for, you want to drag and drop the animation that you made into the motion space for both of them. And I can delete that one, and then it'll just put it onto the same avatar as well. So it's not specific to specifically which avatar that you record it for, it's just specific to whichever avatar has the effects on it, and whether if it actually has the blend shapes required to do so. But other than that, all you would have to basically do is open up your SDK, and you should be able to upload it. Just as any avatar would. Just ignore those because I haven't completely finished this avatar yet. But other than that, it should be ready to upload. And if you go to do the, say if you were using this avatar, if you were to go and use the open hand gesture, he would be doing the smile that I had animated it to do. But other than that, I hope that helped anybody with any of the issues on that, and I'll see you guys next time.